guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another horror movie review. Tonight we're looking at a 1961 British zombie movie released on MGM Pictures but produced by Hammer, and it's called Dr. Blood's Coffin, which is released here on Hammer Video. So let's have a little look at the release.
So here is the physical release, guys, of Dr. Blood's Coffin, which is a Hammer Present film. It's not a Hammer movie, but it's presented by them. This is actually an MGM film. And it says it's here as Britain's first colour zombie movie. So let's have a look at this edition. These are great. It's the third one of theirs I've got now on these Hammer Presents. I have the two other in the series, Cry of the Banshees, and the one I just recently reviewed. So it comes with a lovely slipcase with sort of images of the film and a synopsis and any special features that may be in there. You have an alternative cover, which is the original artwork, same on the back, and then you have information about the film and the restoration, which I actually quite like. I think that's pretty cool. It's a cheaper way than putting a booklet in. A booklet is nicer, but they've decided to go that way. And you've got the disc there on Blu-ray, which is covering the same artwork as the slipcase. And that is the physical release of Dr. Blood's Coffin.
So apart from the slipcase, it's bog standard. It's probably one of the shabbiest little releases that Hammer put out, because normally they put out quite nice releases, but this one is pretty shabby. But there we go. But is there any special features?
Here we are, guys, on the main menu for the Dr. Blood's Coffin. Our special features on here, we have the UK 1.66 version with 2026 commentary with Kevin Lyons and Jonathan Rigby. We have Dr. Blood Coffin US version, theatrical trailer, textless theatrical trailer, image gallery, and on your settings you have subtitles. So a bit weak on the special features, but that is it. That is the special features on Dr. Blood's Coffin.
Well, nothing to shout about. There's a commentary and there's a trailer. And I just think, again, it's very poor effort. Hammer are spending a lot of money on putting out some of their old films, really good releases. But these ones, they're just flinging them out for cash grabs. So just be wary of that when you're buying it. You're not going to get anything special, just a slipcase. So just be wary of that. Let's get to the story. So this is about Peter Blood, who's a doctor played by Kieran Moore. And at the beginning of the film, we see him at sort of like a college or university, and he's doing his Victor Frankenstein bit, and he's trying his best to sort of like bring back the dead to life. But he's doing it on a very evil way. He's sacrificing people. He's sort of making them seem to be dead, and then sort of like injecting them with this sort of poison from like from a foreign land, shall we say, and it keeps them alive. And he's removing their hearts to put it into a dead body to hopefully bring them back to life, which seems a bit diabolical and pointless to kill someone to bring someone else back to life. Anyway, he gets caught out and he has to leave. And he goes back to his old town where his dad lived. His dad is Dr. Robert Blood, and he's played by Ian Hunter. And he is the local doctor of this little Cornish town. And in the film is based in this little Cornish town. We meet the nurse called Linda Parker, who's played by Hazel Court, and she's really, really cool. And we meet the police detective Sergeant Cook, played by Kenneth Warren. And we meet these characters straight away. As soon as we get to the town, we find out that some of the local men have gone missing. And our doctor, our criminal at the moment, we've not seen him. All we see is his lower half, but there's no big sort. They try to make it look like a sort of like, who is this? who is this guy? Who is this Dr. Blood? So the first sort of 20 minutes of the film, we don't actually see him. And they're trying to sort of trick us to make us guess who it is. And these guys are going missing in the town. And then Peter Blood turns up in town, like I said, from the college. And he's there to go back to his dad's. And then we know it's him. So I'm just thinking that was a kind pointless sort of like 20 minutes trying to hide who this sort of like mad scientist or killer is. And what he's done, he's lived in this area since he was a young boy, so he knows all the local little caves and mines. And he's using a bit of a mine shaft, and he's created it into a sort of homemade laboratory. And here we have the missing people from the town, who are kept alive, but sort of all made helpless and paralyzed because of the drugs he's given. And this sort of carries on, and he's trying to cover up his evil experiments while the others are looking for the missing people. But then the nurse sort of uncovering that he's not the person that he says he is. So I won't tell you any more. I want you to kind of try and discover the rest of the film yourself. Final verdict. So we'll break the final verdict down into picture, sound, and film. The story in the movie is superb. It's a 9 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic. The transfer is a 9 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic. The sound, 6 out of 10. The sound quality is really poor. The levels are all over the place. I believe it's in mono, but the levels are all over the place. It's almost like you're watching it on an old TV, and not through a sort of Dolby Atmos soundbar. But there we go. The sound quality sort of lets the film down. So overall, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It would have got a solid 9, but it's spoilt by the sound. The story is fantastic. It's really, really cool. It's a very sort of Frankenstein-y sort of story. You know, this is on the back. This is 1961, so they've had the success of Curse of Frankenstein and Dracula. And so this is MGM with Hammer presenting it and giving us a sort of almost a folk horror feel to it because it's in the Cornwall area. So we get loads of wonderful, wonderful scenery of the coastline of this little village. Absolutely stunning. So sorry, I'm a bit tired because it's quite late at night and I've been watching this for like it runs for an hour and a half. And it's beautiful. So that part gives it a bit of a folk horror vibe. But then we've got the mad scientist sort of vibe, and it's just like the folk horror vibe to me on this is like even little villages are not safe from science, and it's like he's trying to prove this that he can. I think his plan is to kill worthless people. Well, not worthless people that don't really give too much to the community, and let scientists and doctors and all this live on. So when they're sort of like dying, he wants to transfer people from their lives that are not as well established into these, so these people can live and the others can die. I'm sure that's what this plan is. And it turns into a sort of zombie film in the very last 3 minutes of the film. So although this does state on there, Britain's first colour zombie movie, be aware, it's not full of zombies, like Plague of the Zombies. But there is a zombie in the film. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful film. The cast are fantastic. I particularly love the Sergeant Cook, played by Kenneth Warren. He's absolutely wonderful. He's so cool. And the Undertaker, Mr. Morton, played by Gerald Lawson. I like him too. But unfortunately, he succumbs to his end in the film. But it's a really, really cool movie. Definitely worth your time if you're a Hammer fan. And if you like British horror, hell yes, it's worth a go. But just be aware, it's a bog standard release. The sound quality is not the best, but it doesn't spoil the film. In fact, it can kind of make the film because it's of its age. but it is a wonderful, wonderful film. And don't be fooled by the incredible slipcover. It's not a zombie filmed out movie, but it is really cool, and it is a zombie film. Massive shout out to my lad. See you soon, guys.